A place that the map doesn't even recognize has become the most famous Death Sea area on Earth. 50 ships, 20 planes, and hundreds of people have been wiped out by the sea. When Columbus first passed by here, the compass went crazy. In 1945, after 5 American fighter jets flew in, even the rescue planes disappeared. What's more bizarre is that scientists finally discovered that the scariest thing about the Bermuda Triangle was not that there were monsters in the sea, but the world really made an imaginary place as a death zone. Here comes the question. A place that is not even recognized on official maps, whether it swallowed ships first or swallowed people's judgment. According to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, that is, NOAA, the Bermuda Triangle has no official boundaries. The U.S. Board on Geographic Names doesn't recognize it as an official place name. The Coast Guard even directly said that they have found no evidence that can prove the accidents here come from abnormal factors beyond physical reasons. Even its exact size, there is no unified answer. Common estimates range from 500,000 square miles to 1.51 million square miles. An area whose size is uncertain can accurately harvest the fear of the whole world. The event itself is more worth telling than many missing stories, but human superstition about it has grown particularly fast. In 1492, when Columbus crossed this sea area, later, based on his records, they kept amplifying 2 abnormal compass readings and strange lights in the distance on the sea. Today, it was more like navigation deviation and celestial phenomena. But in the 15th century, it was enough to make a whole ship of people chew on bad omens. From that moment on, the waters of Bermuda hadn't started to eat people yet. The story began to eat people. In 1609, the sea sent another excellent curse to Europe. The material was the British supply ship Sea Adventure. On its way to Jamestown, was blown off course by a hurricane and finally ran aground in Bermuda. The shipwreck itself was not supernatural, but it was too dramatic. Later, even storms were often thought to be inspired by it. That is to say, before the Bermuda Triangle became the Triangle of Death, became the sea with the most legends in the Western world. What really put Bermuda on a pedestal was not ancient navigation, but the industrial age. 2 clean disappearances like a knife. In 1918, the U.S. Navy coal carrier Cyclops returned from Brazil, stopped in Barbados, and then completely lost contact. More than 300 people and the whole ship disappeared. No wreckage was found, nor any distress signals. No decent result. Until today, it remains the largest non-combat disappearance in history. One of the mysteries. From this moment on, the Bermuda Triangle story first gained weight in the modern world. 27 years later, the second fire was lit. In 1945, 5 American TBM Avengers were on a training mission. During the return flight, the radio content began to get out of control. The judgment of the lead pilot was obviously confused. The later naval historical materials tend to think that misjudgment of direction, fuel exhaustion, and the bad weather were the greater reasons for the disappearance of the 19th. As for the rescue plane that didn't come back, the material also tends to an air fire or accident, rather than being swallowed by something. Because of this, the scariest part of Bermuda is never seeing something, but what you didn't see. You will find a subtle point. What really sunk Bermuda was not the accident itself, but the huge blank behind the accident. What humans fear most is never a certain danger, but the void that you can fit any imagination into. Aliens, Atlantis, time-space rifts, and underwater energy devices. These claims, they survived so long not because of strong evidence, but because they are more dramatic than Lost in Space. A sea without answers is the best place to nurture myths. and this myth was officially industrialized in the mid to late 20th century. In 1964, writer Vincent Gaddis first wrote it as the Bermuda Triangle. By 1974, Charles Berlitz's bestseller further pushed the name to the world. Since then, Bermuda was no longer just an accident site, but a narrative brand. First, there were scattered accidents, then unified naming, finally, best-selling books, TV programs, and documentaries repeatedly reinforcing fear. It's not the sea that creates the mystery, it's humans who turn mystery into a product. But if you peel off all the mythical skin, just looking at the geographical conditions, Bermuda is not romantic at all. It's located on a part of the North Atlantic's high-traffic route with many ships and planes. The surrounding islands are dense, complex shoals. In the Caribbean Sea, there are already many unfriendly diving areas for navigation. NOAA also explicitly mentioned that it would be affected by a large number of tropical storms. The Gulf Stream brings rapid and even severe weather changes.
To put it simply, the real background here is not mystery, but busy and chaotic. But the complex sea conditions. A small mistake of yours, the cost can be magnified instantly. Many people, upon hearing that no wreckage was found, immediately attribute it to the supernatural. But the most heartbreaking part of maritime accidents is precisely that the evidence will be quickly dealt with by the sea. Strong ocean currents can carry away floating objects. Storms can change the sea conditions. Deep water will directly press the clues into places you can't reach. According to the common Bermuda Triangle sliding method, its southeast side will approach the Puerto Rico Trench with a depth of about 8,380 meters. This means that many times it's not that someone is swallowed by a mysterious force, but that humans simply cannot retrieve the answers from the bottom of the sea. The sea will not explain for you, but only mute you. Besides, the compass is the most easily rumored. The compass is never a mystical tool. It is originally affected by magnetic declination. The NCEI, a subsidiary of EDOAA, now publicly released a statement, still emphasizes that there is an angle difference between magnetic north, and this difference varies with location and time. The so-called zero declination line did indeed approach at different times, or even pass near Bermuda, but this does not mean the machine fails, or that there is some force specifically torturing navigators. It only shows one thing. If you don't know how to correct navigation, the sea will remind you in the hardest way. Until 2026, NOAA, NCEI, still uses new models like WMM 2025, updating the relevant magnetic field description, which itself shows that the magnetic declination is a dynamic scientific issue, not a metaphysical failure exclusive to Bermuda. More importantly, official agencies do not support this at all. NOAA wrote it very straightforwardly. There is no evidence that the so-called mysterious disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle happens more frequently than in other large and busy waters. The U.S. Coast Guard also said it directly. They do not consider it a geographical area with special dangers to ships and planes. After reviewing relevant accidents and disappearances over years, they found no abnormal factors. The power of these words is actually more powerful than any paranormal program, because it is not explaining a legend, but is tearing down the foundation on which it rests. So the most intriguing contrast of Bermuda is here. On one hand, it has no official borders and has the most stable reputation in the world. It lacks conclusive supernatural evidence, but it can easily surpass many real and more dangerous waters. It monopolizes human imagination of the unknown. You can even say that the most successful disappearance case in the Bermuda Triangle was not a ship or a certain plane, but the loss of common sense. And the latest reality can also explain a lot. As of March 20th, 2026, the National Hurricane Center of the U.S. shows that there is no tropical cyclone activity in the Atlantic. Officials still monitor the hurricane season. Monitoring the hurricane season. This shows that it is never a cursed floor that automatically occurs all year round. The real danger is always storms, currents, visibility, and people's judgments under high pressure. NOAA's review of the 2025 Atlantic hurricane season also mentioned that there were 13 named storms in that season, 5 hurricanes, 4 of them strengthened to strong hurricanes, and even 3 Category 5 hurricanes. The sea has never been gentle, but its danger has always been natural, not supernatural. So if you really want to ask whether the Bermuda Triangle is scary or not, my answer is, of course, terrifying. But the way it is terrifying is completely different from the legend. It's terrifying because here just happens to stack several things that humans are most prone to, are combined together. Complex sea conditions, frequent storms, high traffic routes, navigation corrections, and incomplete information. And after an accident, the extremely difficult ocean environment to restore the truth. It's not a supernatural museum, it's more like a place that will amplify small mistakes into big costs. And the Bermuda Triangle can survive to this day. There is a more brutal reason. Humans are never satisfied with not knowing for now. We always want to change the unknown into something behind it. So a sea area without official borders has been turned into a forbidden area. Several really disturbing accidents have been packaged into a supernatural series. The truly complex oceanography, meteorology, and navigation buy to the 4 words, mysterious disappearance. These 4 words can swallow people more than the sea itself. In the end, the Bermuda Triangle can be talked about, but not randomly. The most interesting part of it is never whether aliens have ever been here, but why humans always want to turn the unknown into monsters. Because many tragedies at sea are the result of misjudgment of weather, the result of a combination of insufficient experience. Blaming them all on curses is exciting and convenient, but for those who really died in storms and misjudgment is the lightest misreading. So what remains of the Bermuda Triangle may not be an ocean mystery at all, but a mirror. It doesn't reflect the sea monsters, but how humans, how eager we are to make up an answer. What the sea really swallowed may never have been ships and planes, but our acceptance that the world doesn't always have the patience to explain. And this is why the Bermuda Triangle is the reason it still fascinates people.